The views and opinions expressed in this podcast episode are solely those of the individuals participating and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of Riverbend Media Group or the Riverbend Awareness Project, its affiliates, or its employees. It is important to note that the discussion presented is for informational purposes only and should not be construed as medical advice. Listeners are encouraged to consult with qualified healthcare professionals for any medical concerns or decisions. The Riverbend Awareness Project is a product of Riverbend Media Group.
Hey, this is Melissa.
And this is Emma. Welcome to part 2 of Heart's Health Awareness.
In our research, and even as a youth, I remember hearing the statistic that heart disease is a leading cause of death. And I think I was I stopped and I Googled, how long has heart disease been a leading cause of death? It's been a long time, I feel like, at least a decade. And correct me if I'm wrong in that. But how can we continue to improve it? And maybe someday, I don't know if that's a possibility, but make that not the leading cause of death.
So heart health has been a leading cause of death for a long time, longer than a decade. And that's based off of studies that we've done. So it's probably been the leading cause of death for a lot longer. But if you think back in the 1700s and whatnot, people didn't live that long. So, and they weren't doing studies. So you have to go off of, look at what you're reading and look at where you're getting your information. Again, Google, be aware. But yes, it has been the leading cause of death for a long time. Cardiovascular disease is the number one cause of death for women. And that's important to know. Everybody, sometimes women have different symptoms. It's not always your classic clutching your chest and, this is, you see it on the movies, whatever. Sometimes it can be subtle. It can be just, something's not right. My neck kind of hurts. I don't know. It just doesn't feel right. I always tell my patients, trust your gut. Sometimes it is your gut, by the way. But, just trust your instincts. If something's wrong, you do know it. And blowing it off can be deadly, can be dangerous. So the things that make cardiovascular death the number one cause in America is, our diet, our lifestyle, smoking, drugs, heavy use of alcohol. We're living longer too. You live long enough, eventually something's going to happen. So those types of things are what we can do, but that is a much bigger issue is the American lifestyle. Obesity trends are huge compared to where we were a decade, 2 decades ago. All of those things are leading and will continue to lead as cardiovascular disease is the number one cause of death. Diabetes is a risk factor. Obesity is a risk factor. High blood pressure is a risk factor.
I was going to say diet and lifestyle, just like she said. I mean, that's the biggest thing. And in America, it's so much easier to stop and grab a McDonald's burger or a Maverick hot dog than it is to take 10 minutes before the night before and pack our healthy or semi-healthy lunch to work. We make that convenience for ourselves, and it can turn out to be deadly.
So so I've got some patients that are truckers. They're on the road. I mean, they got to go. A lot of them nowadays are packing coolers and they got fridges in their truck. I've seen it's pretty nice setup. I got to tell you, there are some nice trucks out there. I know that there's some parking lots or some gas stations that cater towards them. I know Walmart caters towards them also, but I encourage them to go in there. And now, if you go to some of these truck stops along the stop, there's healthier options now. There really is. So they do have that option. And if they can get their semi, into a bigger parking lot, go in and grab some snacks, fill your coolers up with some things. Snap peas are great. Yeah, I'm not saying you have to eat just all snap peas and carrots or anything like that, but moderation and cut back.
I have snap peas and carrots in my lunch today and a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So,
nice.
Balance. I think there's some almonds in there too.
Wow, you're right on top.
I'm trying.
I think one of the other key things is we especially this time of year, it's hard to be active, it's hard to get out, and do any kind of exercise, but it is super important. Even if you just take a brisk walk for 30 minutes a day or 20 minutes a day, or even just 15 or 5 if you're just starting out, I think that's super important also to keep that heart health and that healthy blood flow going. It's not just diet or anything. I mean, there's several factors, as Blake touched on, but that movement, that constant movement is super important as well.
There was one, I printed off that paper that had all the factors and I completely
I
forgot.
have it, actually.
Yay!
Right here.
One of them was, this is according to the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute, to get enough sleep, which I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But then I was like, how is that related to your heart? Like, how does that connect to
Stress.
heart health? Oh, okay.
Sleep deprivation is hard on your body in a lot of ways.
It's like alcohol, it affects every part of your body.
I do not recommend sleeping with this Fitbit, please.
Oh, is there a story behind that?
Well, it's normal when you sleep that your heart rate goes low. It's called you're in a deep sleep and a REM sleep. So, people wake up every morning and you're fine. So, yeah, I was like, no. And then also the Fitbit keeps buzzing and waking you up so you never get that really good deep sleep. So I was just like,
Because it'll wake you up if you.
I know.
It thinks your heart is like too slow, so it'll be
I
like,
know.
oh, emergency. You're like, no, I'm just sleeping. It's fine.
I know. So anyway.
So we know one of the things you do as the Idaho Heart Foundation is the Idaho Heart Ball. Would you please tell us a little more about that?
We would love to. We are in Heart Ball season. So it's February 22nd, and it is at the Shoshone Bannock at 5:30. Tickets are $250 each. This is a fundraiser. This is our only fundraiser we do. And table of 10, $2,500. We've raised money to get AEDs for the first responders.
And Lucas devices.
And we're trying to get Lucas devices. And I already told you earlier how much they cost. So this is what we're really going for. It's a fancy formal event. And we have some tickets for you to give away.
Yep. We do.
So that'll be fun for you guys to do that. We started, this is our 4th Heart Ball that we've done. And what we do is we change up the theme every year, but it's a surprise. So it's always going to be new and exciting and very fancy and nice.
It is very formal.
It's very formal.
Recommended formal. I mean, if somebody wants to show up in just their, Sunday suit, that's okay too. But
Yeah, it's formal. It's a party.
It's not Sunday best. It's
We can give
formal.
give you a link to a video of last year's.
Okay, yeah.
I'll give you an idea. And we are so excited that since our first Heart Ball, Mountain View Hospital and Idaho Falls Community Hospital has been our diamond sponsor, and they are 100% behind us and this mission. They have been critical in helping us get this information out and just supporting us in every way that they can. And we're so grateful for that. We're also extremely grateful for Emerald sponsor this year, and has been for many years also, is Teton Auto Group. Amazing community service that they do. We're so grateful for that as well. We have Idaho Heart Institute, who has also been a past and current sponsor. And for the first time ever, we have a brand new type of sponsor that I'm going to let Jake talk about.
So this is actually really big for us. In our 10, 12-year goal that we had planned, we wanted to be recognized semi-nationally or nationally. And this year we have our first national silver sponsor. It's a company called Concurrent, and they are an emergency electrical contract company where they go and they help individuals regain power after like a hurricane or a flood or a serious event like that. They're in about 10 different states, several employees. They're based out of Florida, But the biggest thing, like I was saying, is they're our very first national sponsor. So we've broke past what we had planned in a 10, 12-year goal in our 4th year with the heart ball going on, and our 8th year going into the foundation being established. So we're smashing goals already. I think another really important thing, I get asked this, how much does the foundation get for these events? And 100% of what we get goes right back to our community with the AEDs for our first responders, the Lucas devices, being able to buy CPR training equipment to train the community, as well as going into our scholarship at CEI that we put forth for anybody that wants to get into the EMT, EMS, start their CNA, their nursing career. We put away some money for a scholarship as well. So Blake and I don't see any of this money. None of our board members see any of this money. It doesn't go into our bank accounts. 100% of it goes right back to our communities. And again, I'd like to, we wouldn't be able to do this without our amazing event coordinator, Kimberly Bronson, and Elite Talents and Events. We wouldn't be here without her support and her keen eye to setting up great events like this, where I'm not a very artistic person. I'm a mechanical person. Give me tools, give me something, give me some plans, and tell me this is what it should look like, and I can do it. Blake, again, also mechanically inclined. Give her a patient,
Hey, I'm creative too.
she's definitely creative there. But Kimberly Bronson with Elite Talents and Events, we wouldn't be able to do this without her either.
And don't forget to mention the over 100 volunteers that help us not only at the ball, but at the state fair with the youth going out and training. We're trying to set that up more where we can go out. You can request training, and we will go to schools, we'll go to churches, and we'll train. We're not certifying, we're training. But we have volunteers to do that. But this is about the community giving back to the community.
And speaking of the community, we wouldn't be here without our community and without other individuals in other communities like Blackfoot, Fort Hall, Rigby. We wouldn't be here. So that's number one right there is our community support. We have great sponsors and great support from several businesses, but it's that
A lot of businesses.
full community support and people being willing to give back and help us along with this venture and the goals that we have set. We're the Idaho Heart Foundation. We're not the Idaho Falls Heart Foundation. So spreading out and being able to take care of other rural communities in the Magic Valley, in the Boise area, up in the Panhandle. I mean, that's our ultimate goal, right? Is to be able to touch all of Idaho and all of the communities that need it, not just our local communities.
Last year, we were able to provide AED equipment for first responders in the Lost Rivers for the Idaho State Police,
Lost River is the Arco area, that basin there.
Bingham County Sheriff Department, Eastern Idaho State Fair, and the Shelley Firth Ambulance First Responder Unit. That was just what we were able to do last year. We're going to continue to serve our communities, serve the needs. Again, try to get some of those Lucas devices out there in the community. They're spendy. We've done one so far. So our goal this year is we're going to get another one, maybe two. We're hoping.
I was going to ask about that. Do you guys have specific goals for this year's Heart Ball that you're trying to reach?
We're working on that. We do a need analysis with Chief Barney, who is part of the foundation.
You guys talked to him last year.
Yeah. So he is doing a need evaluation. He reaches out to the surrounding communities, find out what their needs are, and so how we can accommodate. Obviously, he determines what do they need most? Do they need an AED? Do we need a Lucas device here? Whatever. And this is a continuation.
Yeah, that makes sense. You want to make sure you're reaching the need where it is and probably the most urgent.
Especially when it's also expensive. You're like, which one do we buy? AEDs? Do we buy Lucas device?
We want to buy it all.
So with me, I think one of the biggest needs that I see personally is we want to outfit those police cruisers, the rural community police cruisers, because 85 to 90% of the time, they're the very first ones to show up on any kind of scene, whether it's a medical condition, whatever it may be. They're the very first ones. So if they're outfitted with those AEDs and that, that life-saving equipment, then there's that 70+% chance that that patient is going to survive that event because the AED was there. So we want to make sure that, as we said here, Bingham County Police Department, Idaho State Police, we focus on that quite a bit as well, not just the ambulances and not just the medical professionals.
We talked a lot about how having someone who's had that experience can really help other people who are having the experience. Jake, is there anything you'd like to share? And you can say no if it's too personal or too close to home, but is there anything you'd like to share about your experience getting a heart transplant or just with heart health in general?
Don't ignore the signs. Go to your yearly visits with your doctor. That is super important. Take a little bit of time. I mean, diet is the absolute hardest thing for change when you're faced with that opposition of heart health, going into heart failure, having high blood pressure, whatever the case may be. That diet is the absolute hardest thing. And I say that personally, for me personally, because I love those comfort foods.
You still eat tacos.
I love chicken fried steak. I love tacos. I love those comfort foods. And that was the hardest thing for me to change. One thing at a time. Don't try and change your whole diet all at once immediately because you put your body through shock. It is very difficult. One thing at a time. Cut one thing out of your diet and replace it with something a little bit more healthy. Yes, I still love tacos. Yes, Taco Tuesday is still a national holiday every week in my house.
Like you could have healthy things in tacos.
You can,
right?
yeah. And
salad,
there are things...
tomatoes, avocado. Sorry.
Absolutely. You can add some of those healthy things and take out some of the more unhealthy things, like a lot of the salts that are added in with those seasonings. Replace it with some of those bold flavors with more garlic, more cumin, more of the pepper flavors.
Jalapenos.
Yeah, more cilantro, and take out some of those salts. That's one of the biggest things that I learned as a patient. And I was down in Salt Lake trying to figure this out with an LVAD as a bridge to transplant, waiting for my heart, right? I had to learn how to still enjoy some of those comfort foods that I didn't want to live without, but make them more healthy with taking out some of those salts and some of those, unhealthy ingredients, adding fresher ingredients, more of the bold flavors, the garlic, the cumin, the peppers, the basil, the cilantro, the oreganos.
You're making me hungry.
And figure out that a lot of those they're oil blooming, right? They do better when you bloom them in oil. You get more of the flavors out. Diet is probably one of the biggest things. And then that movement, that constant exercise, that 30 minutes of constant movement. It doesn't have to be a hard exercise. It doesn't have to be, severe heavy weight training. Get on a treadmill, walk around your block, walk around the river, stay active. Give back. Show people along the way what you have been shown to improve, and keep it going.
Like include people in your healthy habits.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Your family.
Yeah.
The biggest people to call me on my unhealthy habits are going to be the ones closest to me, whether it be Blake, whether it be my wife, whether it be my kids, and they're very, very famous for it. But those people closest to me, if I make them aware of the things that I'm trying to change and the things that I need to do for that, then they're going to hold me accountable. They're going to say, hey, that doesn't go with your diet. Hey, that's not what you told us 2 weeks ago that you needed to do. Make everybody around you aware. And then maybe they'll make it easier and follow along and support. That constant support helps out quite a bit as well.
Is there specific ways people can get involved? You talked about volunteers.
Yes.
So how can people get involved with the Idaho Heart Foundation?
So it's really easy. Our website is www.idahoheartfoundation.org. It gives you a link to get tickets to the ball. It also has a link that you can contact us if you're interested in volunteering and being part of this. All ages. We have a youth section of our board. Actually, we have a youth honor board. We take that very seriously as well. Even if it's just, hey, I just want to help out with you guys during the state fair, that's cool. Volunteers are volunteers, and we love our volunteers. By supporting us as a corporation, by sponsoring a table, donations that will help us get equipment out to serve the community. Honestly, the other way to help is just help somebody who's in need when you see them. That makes us happy.
I want to touch on our youth for a little bit also. I mean, they are so outgoing, and it is so amazing to see the youth in our community be a part of something healthy, whether it's with us or another program, CYA, Scouts, whatever. They are more apt to be a part of that and learn something new than somebody older such as myself. You know, we get older, we get stuck in our ways, we get pretty closed-minded. Our youth, they are key because they're coming up behind us. Who is going to save me when I am in the hospital? It is going to be our youth coming up. You know, they are amazing. Our Youth Honor Guard, the group that takes care of the Idaho Heart Foundation, they are super, super amazing. I can't give them enough praise.
Got to get them on your podcast.
Yeah.
Next year. That'd be
Yes.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, is there anything else that you would like to share that we haven't covered already?
Just remember, the Heart Ball is February 22nd at Shoshone-Bannock. Our website is idahoheartfoundation.org. Let us know. We'll give you guys some more information that you can post, and we have a couple tickets for you guys to give away. I think that would be a lot of fun. I think that's the big thing.
Thank you guys so much for taking time to come in to share your passion for heart health for this
Absolutely.
community. We
And-
really appreciate it.
And we really thank Mountain View and Idaho Falls Community Hospital for, supporting us, and our concurrent, our national sponsor in Teton Toyota and Idaho Heart Institute. Like, we're so grateful for all the companies. We've got a lot of companies that are involved, and we're just so grateful for the sponsorships.
Yep. Everybody past, present, and future. There's so many to list and name that we'd be here another hour going through everybody. But yeah, like I
Thank
said, our
you.
community is amazing.
Thank you guys so much for coming in today. And thank you also to our sponsor of this episode, Idaho Falls Community Hospital.
If you've enjoyed today's episode, please remember to share, subscribe, and rate the Riverbend Awareness Project.
And if you'd like to get in touch with us, you can email us at podcast@riverbendmediagroup.com. Thanks for listening, and join us next time on the Riverbend Awareness Project.